So I would like to introduce a winder many of you already know about. This is Speedy Cone Winder from Joyce Knits and Sews. So this company is fairly new and they offer 3D printed items. They offer a cone winder, but actually they do a bit more than that. They offer a manual cone winder with a handle. They offer a electric motorized winder that you can direct the yarn yourself. Or they offer that same winder with an upgrade kit. And this is that upgrade kit. So this is the bottom. It comes with 4 silicone feet and some information here. Their information. Well, let's turn it over and probably never do that again. Don't do what I just did. On the sides, this side and the opposite side, it's sitting on gently, is these screws that help keep the shell mounted on the base of this box. So we're just going to gently turn it over. And on the top of this box is this wonderful braided nylon handle with the 2 screws attached to the foundation. It's one easy carry case. It's very easy to move around. So I wanted to also show you while I'm recording the dimensions of this box. So as a Canadian, I'll show you first in centimeters. So it is 30.5 centimeters across, left and right, which is 12 inches. It is 25.5 centimeters from front to back, which is about 10 inches. And in terms of height off the table, which I will tell you was, you can't see probably, 20 centimeters tall, which is about 8 inches tall. So this is the profile of this wonderful box. To open this, we're going to turn the screws that I showed you just a moment ago. And just take my word for it on the other side. So these are custom screws that they created using 3D printing. And it's pretty awesome, easy to use, easy to turn. So I'm just going to put those there. Let's take the lid off. And while we do that, we're just going to flip it over and show you what's inside. Now inside is this very crucial part being stored. It has a bit of a cup here to hold this part and a clip over here. So to open it, just move the clip aside and gently bring out this very important part. Now, just because I'm recording and I want to show you something easy, don't use the winder this way, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the winder up and put the lid underneath so you could see it a little more clearly. Should you wish to do what I did and buy the main winder and have it on the base, this base is an upgrade with kit and the lid on the box. I like to call it the upgrade. So this is a standalone unit and this is the upgrade. Buying them together or buying this for now, if that's all you'd like to try and you find that you like it and you want maybe to try the directional part, which has that storage case and everything, then this is a separate purchase. However, this unit, which can be a standalone, easily clips into the base of this upgrade. So it's pretty awesome. If I didn't want to use the carry case and didn't want to have it self-directing, I could unclip it from the base, take it off to the side and use it by itself. But why? Let's have it do my work for me. So let's put this down. Let's come back to our handy dandy storage kit. So then we're looking at this. There's a few things you see here that you may not be aware of. So the first thing, we're going to turn it on its side and just look at the end. So when we look at the side of the winder, this is a off, on, and the speed control. So as you turn it, it will turn faster. I'm going to turn it back to nothing and off. And this is directional. So this will go in the direction I wanted to use when I'm using the upgrade, but I could turn it off, or I can go in reverse, which is pretty awesome. But let's leave it in the direction I'm working. On this side, beside the clipped in winder, is this part. This is how the lid is attached. On this side and the opposite side, that's where these custom screws fit the lid onto the base securely, allowing you to keep everything in one place and keep it secure. All right, and so when we look at this, also on this side is the tensioning device that we'll go over. Very easy device and very inventive, very easy to use and very effective actually. I like it a lot, it's very awesome. All right, so otherwise this mount has no other purpose other than storing and keeping everything safe. So let's turn this sideways. All right, so this unit, when used, would actually be turned to the side. So let's turn that again. Now when I wind, I'm more often going to wind with the unit being fed from my left, okay? Mostly because of how my furniture is and how I'd sit at the couch, but also because the mount right here that I'm looking at is for this. And this connects to the tension arm. So what's going to happen is you are going to set up your yarn source in this orientation, perhaps to the left, either from a Swift, from another cone that wasn't so greatly wound, or from a skein, and you are going to feed it in from the left when it's sit like this. And the yarn is going to go through the end. So let me just open the doors. Oh, they're open. So if you see this, this is their tensioning device. So the yarn will come in here. We'll close the door and it'll come all the way through. And you'll close the door. And the yarn will continue down the arm towards the winder. But to seat the yarn in the tensioning device, you're going to just gently pull this out and that yarn will sit in there, okay? And how much tension is controlled by the screw here, okay? Works pretty awesome. So I'm just going to install that. It just sits without any tension or needed, just directly on this. By how it comes in, it doesn't have any reverse tension, so it'll stay on without any issues. And this will sit on the bracket I showed you there. Okay, the bracket that's right there. So it's all very easy to put together. Easier when you're not using one hand and recording, but you know, there we go. So it's seated there. Okay, now let's look at this. So this is the directional device, the Speedy Guide Go. So we've got that elastic just holding the arm down to keep it in storage only. So let's remove that elastic now. And now when we look at this, there's a lot of stuff being stored here that won't be stored here when we're using it. So it's just an extra bag of awesomeness, elastics. The power adapter is sitting in a dummy wall outlet, just to help keep it safe. So I'm going to unplug that and I'm going to take the elastic, the extra elastic, off it so I have some reach to the wall socket that I have on my left. Put the elastic down. Now this underneath is what I call a dead man switch, but it's basically, uh-oh, something's going wrong. Let's turn it off real quick. So there's an elastic holding it into the base underneath the winder. Okay, so let's look at that. So this is pretty cool. All the way out, it's normal functioning. Uh-oh, something went sideways. Stop. Dead stop, real quick. That's why I call it the dead man switch, but I'm sure that's not why it's called that. But back to regular use. All right, and so the adapter plugs into that side, and the unit will plug into, I want to make sure I hold onto everything correctly. We'll plug into this area. So let's plug that in here now. Okay, there we go. And let's reorient it. All right, good. So now that we look at this, the other thing you might notice is this bit of stuff here. This is just storage. So let's unscrew this custom screw. Okay, come on. And these are the yarn barf protector items, just to help reduce yarn from being wound too loosely at the very top of your cone. Just some extra parts. I'm just going to put them off to the side for now. You could leave them there if you were normally winding. So now that all the parts are off the machine that need to come off or that don't need to be on there when we're winding, I just wanted to give you a close-up look of the winder as it is. It's a very smart machine with a very innovative way of using it. So again, if you weren't interested in a big first purchase, you could just buy the winder itself, a standalone winder that you direct the yarn yourself. Buying the upgrade kit does get you the all-in-one case and the ability to not have to direct the yarn, which is pretty wonderful actually. I highly recommend this. All right, so here we go. So now what I'm going to do want to keep everything safe is I'm going to bring this closer to my table and remove the lid. Because I would like to make sure I baby this unit and I don't want to do anything silly that might hurt it. All right, so there we go. I'm going to put the lid on the side. Okay, so this is what the whole unit looks like with all these extra parts. Not much to look at, but a lot of stuff in a little package. All right, so let's look at that. So now what I'm going to do, everything is plugged in here, everything is ready. I am going to plug the power into my adapter. Everything is off as it should be. So you'll notice nothing is moving, which is good. All right, so let's look at this. So if I was wondering if it's turning in the right direction to use with this part, the manual says to make sure the winder is turning away from the arm. Okay, so it should be turning like this. So I'm going to turn that switch we went over before. And you can see that it is. And I'm just going to turn that off. Good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how nice and easy it is to set this winder up. Apologies for the bright light there on the table. Couldn't be helped. I should have put something down. In any case, when I bought this winder, I also bought their adapter kit so I can use other cones. It's pretty awesome. I could use a different cone by simply taking the end part off. I can use the cone adapter by simply putting it on and turning. There, now I could use the different cones. But I don't want to use those right now. So I'm just going to take that off. For the cone adapter. So I'm just going to put it aside. Okay, so easy. All right, let's find a cone. There we go. So for this example, I'm going to use a Silver Needles wound cone. Looks like one of these cones, pointy witch hat style. And this is one of the reasons I started looking at this winder is I have a billion of these. These I found least expensive at one supplier. And these are a cone that I used exclusively initially with my Silver Needles winder. I love that winder. That company no longer seems to be in business. And the winder that used this, the version hasn't been made in some time. So that's a very different machine, very noisy machine, a machine requiring chain movement and belts and pulleys. And this is a modern machine that doesn't have any funny belts and pulleys. So you're not going to have to worry about any silicone belts that are going to wear out, that are going to be stretched. So if we were wanting to wind on the machine at this time, either by itself, just using this unit, or with the whole setup as I have here, I would want to use a cone like this. Okay, but let's do it right. I'm going to take my yarn source and I'm going to put it on the floor, just out of sight. And when it feeds in, it's going to feed straight up. Okay, so that's what we're doing off the camera view. And as you can see it coming into the machine, I'm going to open both of those doors we went over. So both of the doors are open, the slot's open, the slot's open. I'm going to take the tail of the yarn and just put it in that door. Close the door. Close the door. And now I'm going to open the tension device just by gently pulling it and putting the yarn path in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the path of yarn and we are going to do something different than I've seen in other winders. Is we're going to take the yarn from the left and we are going to put the yarn around the pulley. Okay, so grab it, go around, come back up. There we go. Now this innovative idea will allow it to do the self-directing by friction. Pretty cool. So I've got the yarn tail now. Now it's going to go from the pulley into these chopstick things, which I just totally love. And it's going to go under. Okay, so now I take my cone. A lot of these cones have a little bit of a V on one side. Now what the maker of the winder had suggested is that you hold it or you tape it and go around, but there's no need. All you have to do is put a little bit on the inside of that V. Okay, and then when you put it on, the tension here will hold it. All right, so let's do that. I should probably zoom out, but you get it. All right, so, and now with support, gentle push. I'll zoom out. And now, to help secure the winder, I could just put this on through the top and it would thread into the top inside of the winder, but why not use a few of these extra cool tools that we have? So this is a barf protector, which isn't a good name when you think about it. Maybe it's a yarn barf protector. And yarn barf, if you're a person who works with yarn, get pretty familiar with some of the easy slang. Because when you get a cone that is really loosely wound on top and it falls off and just kind of goes blah, that's what yarn barf is. You're welcome for the sound. All right, so this is this kind of adapter to help that. And what it does is it allows a wall to secure the wind nice and firmly. Okay, so I like to use this. This is cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the top of the cone on that. Gentle pressure. And I'm going to screw this through the top because it's all open. Whenever using any components on this winder, you don't have to over tighten. Now it's tight. Now when we look at this, I really like this adapter part here because I can gently direct. I can gently turn it to ensure everything is moving and everything is good. Just by the friction of it going around once, that's having that do the direction for us. So we're ready to start. So having my emergency button ready on the go if I need to to turn the winder on, it's behind. Again, sorry about that white light there. It's because I'm filming over our kitchen table. So here we go. I'm just going to reach around and turn the silver speed control. Now they recommend winding at a middle speed. How fast does it go? That's as fast as it goes. So I'm going to back it up just a bit. There we go. Now, if your winder tensioner should come with a knot, it may stop suddenly. So then you could use the abrupt stop and you could free the knot, be aware of it, manually tie it in, cut it, make long tails, whatever works for you. But we cleared the knot. There was no knot. We cleared the knot and let's start it again. So perhaps you're thinking, how good is this wind? Oh, it's pretty good. Let's zoom in. But maybe you're thinking it's not tight enough. Maybe you like it to be more firm. Well, that's easily adjustable with that screw there. I like it the way it is, so we're going to leave it and continue again. All right, so that's it. So now we want to take the winder, or rather we want to take the cone off the winder. So gently lift the arm away, and then you unscrew the top part. Take the protector off, gently remove the cone. And that's it. This is a cone wound, probably a bit too fast, sorry, on this machine. Now let's compare this to a cone that was wound, same yarn, on a Silver Needles winder. Actually, slightly different yarn. This is wider. So you can see it's very comparable. It's very quiet. I maintain that getting a winder is an investment and you should consider it that. Now that we're done winding on this style cone, if we decide that we want to use a different style cone, this machine with the adapter offers you something I haven't seen any other winder be able to do. So by putting that adapter that I bought separately on the machine, I can now use a cone like this. And it came with this top part, which helps secure it with the screw through the top. And there you are. Now you could easily wind yarn on this as well. There is no winder out there that offers this. I love this winder because this winder offers you a lot more options. You don't have to buy the upgrade kit to get a good winder, but doing so offers you a wonderful kit and comparison. It's wonderful. Gee, how many times can I say wonderful? So let's put it away now so you can see how easy it is to do that. So you're done winding and you're like, let's put it away. I have to go do something, anything. So what do? Well, one of the first things you can do is take off your tensioner, and with the hole that's there, put it on the stand to keep it safe. You can remove the bar. And so this, where we found it, can go back under the lid. Just simply put it in part here, clips in over here. There we go. Now it's secure. The lid aside. So we're gonna unplug the unit here. We can reorient the directional arm against this top part and secure it with the included rubber band just to keep it safe. And we can place the emergency dead stop, I call it, in the holder. Let me tip it so you can show you. There's a bracket here, elastic goes over to hold this part here in. And so let's put that there. Just a way to keep it safe. All right. Unplug our power. Now, it is a very good idea to take the time and effort to be gentle to your cords. Don't wind them around don't wind them around this part here. The more, the tighter the coil is on a wire, the more damage you can do over time. So keeping it in a butterfly shape is better for it. We'll put the elastic holding those coils down, nice and secure, and we can plug it in to the dummy wall socket to keep it safe. Good. All right, so let's bring our stuff over. Okay. And we can put this back together. I put this one first, and then I put this one, and then I put the one that came with the cone adapter. And I can see where it attaches, so I know the depth will connect. It's like a puzzle. Doesn't really matter, but I just want to keep everything secure. Because this last part came in here, we know it fits, and a gentle push and it sits there, no problem. And then I'll just put the wires in. See, it doesn't really sit. I don't want to force anything. Don't force anything. There we go. And so now I'll put the extra bag of elastics in the middle. These are what we use to close the box. Now we're ready to close the box. So let's turn that sideways. And let's get our box ready. Everything is inside the borders of the box. There we are. Now we're going to put the screws on both sides. Now you can go store your winder as you need. This review is completely of my own doing. I am not encouraged or discounted in any way to make this video, but I, as I always do, would like to share the information free to those others interested. pros and cons. The benefits that I noted with this winder are quite a few. They offer a variety of winders at different price points, from the least expensive electronic standalone model, the Speedy cone winder, that you will manually direct the yarn, or you could choose the manual winder that uses a handle without power to use a cone winding ability. Or you could do what I did and showed in the video, where you could use the Speedy cone winder and pair it with their upgrade. The upgrade they call, which is separately purchased, a Speedy Guide Go. Now the benefit to that, as you've seen in this video, is when you buy those two things separately, you get them in a wonderful case that allows everything to have a small platform and to go and be used and yet be put away efficiently and effectively to protect the contents. I love that. It's the best I've seen. But anyway, let's continue. All right, so this is currently the only actively making winder that is offering adapters to utilize a range of commonly used cones. And then in doing so, being able to use an adapter, you simply put the adapter over the spindle of the main part of the machine, and you place it gently and push a little bit, twist and lock is how they refer to it. Very easy to swap to a different ability in order to wind other types of cones. Now this winder is not a winder that uses belts or silicone bands to function, so you're not going to have a concern or worry about those becoming stretched or worn. Now this winder design also is different than some of the others on the market, because this one offers an open end, which is a free access to the cone and the yarn. And everything mid-wind could be stopped and removed without needing to cut the yarn, unlike another yarn winder I recently tried. Because of the design of this, if something goes sideways, and let's be honest, things go sideways, you're able to take it off the winder without any issues in terms of needing to cut or break the continuity to the yarn itself. And that's flippin' awesome. This winder comes with all it needs. So if you do buy what I did in terms of the two components and get the case, that's all you need. You can use it right out of the case. Just use the parts that are in it. You don't need to buy another board or use clamps in different spaces and just use a winder in that kind of way. It has all you need, and it's a very small profile. All right, so cons. I am a right-handed person, and I would prefer, in my opinionated opinions, to use this system, as I've shown, in a different direction. I personally would prefer that the top of the cone is facing away from me so I could see buttons and controls, and I could turn them without having to reach around anything. It's not a big deal, but I just kind of wish that was it. That's not much to wish for, and not a big deal. I can use it the way it is, but it is kind of nice if it was the other way around. No big deal. One of the other cons, as I see it, is that it's 3D printed, which is that instead of maybe plastic injection molding, which does mean there are some temperature concerns in other parts that might be a worry. I mean, it's not a big deal if you look after it, but it was a concern. And you know what? That's pretty much it, other than cost. Now, of course, there's nothing that is as low cost as using your fingers to wind something, but a cone is so much better. And I always stand behind the idea that if you buy a cone winder, it should be an investment, because you are using it with things that were an investment and you got quality there. All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much, everybody. Happy yarn journey to you. Bye from CSM Love.